You don't wake up early because you have to. You wake up early because something inside you refuses to stay asleep any longer. And I want you to think about that for a moment. Because most people think waking up early is about discipline. They think it's about forcing yourself out of bed, dragging your body into the cold morning, fighting against comfort. But that's not what this is about. This is about identity. This is about who you are when no one is watching. Because the truth is, the morning doesn't just start your day, it defines it. Every single morning, before the world gets loud, before the notifications start, before the expectations pile up, you are given a choice. A quiet, powerful, life-defining choice. Do you stay in the comfort of who you've always been? Or do you step into the discomfort of who you're capable of becoming? And most people choose comfort. They hit snooze. They delay. They negotiate with themselves. Just 5 more minutes. But those 5 minutes, they're not just 5 minutes. They are a pattern. They are a message you send to yourself every single day about who's in control. Because when you can't win the first battle of the day, the battle between you and your own mind, how do you expect to win the bigger battles? You don't build strength at noon. You don't build discipline at night. You build it in the dark when your alarm goes off and every part of you is telling you to stay down. That's where it starts. That's where you prove something, not to the world, but to yourself. Because let me tell you something most people won't say out loud. Your life doesn't change in big moments. It changes in small decisions repeated daily. Waking up early is not about time. It's about ownership. Ownership of your mind, ownership of your habits, ownership of your future. When you wake up early, you are doing something very few people are willing to do. You are putting yourself ahead of the noise. You are choosing clarity over chaos. You are choosing intention over reaction. Think about how most people start their day. They wake up late, rush out of bed, check their phones, react to messages, scroll through other people's lives, and before they even realize it, they are already behind. Already distracted, already controlled by everything around them. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. They wonder why they feel overwhelmed. They wonder why their goals feel so far away. But you have a different opportunity. Because when you wake up early, you step into a space that most people never experience. Silence. And in that silence, something powerful happens. You begin to hear yourself again. Your thoughts become clearer. Your purpose becomes sharper. Your direction becomes stronger. The early morning is not just quiet, it's honest. There are no distractions there. No excuses. No noise to hide behind. Just you. And that's where growth begins. Not when it's convenient, not when it's easy, but when it's quiet, uncomfortable, and real. Because let's be honest, waking up early is not easy. It requires you to say no to late nights that don't serve you. It requires you to walk away from habits that keep you average. It requires you to choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. And that's where most people struggle. They don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're inconsistent. They wait to feel motivated. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait until it feels right. But the truth is it will never feel right. The alarm will never feel good. The bed will always feel warm. Your mind will always give you reasons to stay. That doesn't change. What changes is you. You become the kind of person who doesn't listen to excuses. You become the kind of person who takes action before emotion. You become the kind of person who understands that success is not about feeling ready, it's about acting anyway. And here's the part most people don't realize. Waking up early is not the goal. It's the gateway. It's the doorway to something bigger. Because what you do after you wake up, that's what defines everything. Do you move your body? Do you train your mind? Do you work on your goals before the world demands your attention? Or do you waste that time? Because waking up early without purpose is just another habit. But waking up early with intention, that's transformation. That's where momentum is built. That's where confidence is created. That's where you begin to separate yourself from who you used to be. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need a complicated routine. You don't need hours and hours. You just need to start. Start simple. But start consistently. Because consistency is where the magic happens. Not in one perfect morning. Not in one burst of motivation. But in showing up again and again and again. Even when you're tired. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when no one is watching. Especially when no one is watching. Because that's when it counts the most. That's when you are building something real. Something that cannot be taken away from you. Something that becomes part of who you are. And over time, something incredible begins to happen. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe in yourself. Because every morning you are proving that you can do hard things. You are proving that you can keep promises to yourself. You are proving that you are in control. And that belief, that self-trust, it carries into everything else, your work, your relationships, your goals, your confidence. Because the way you start your day becomes the way you live your life. And I want you to understand something very clearly. You are not tired because you wake up early. You are tired because you are not living in alignment with what you truly want. Because when you have purpose and when you have direction, waking up early is not a burden. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to get closer to the life you keep thinking about, the life you keep saying you want. But wanting is not enough. Thinking is not enough. Planning is not enough. At some point, you have to act. And that action begins the moment your alarm goes off. That's your moment. That's your test. That's your opportunity to become someone different. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm rings, I don't want you to think about how tired you are. I don't want you to think about how comfortable your bed feels. I want you to ask yourself one question. Who do I want to be today? Not someday. Not next week. Today. Because the person you want to become is built in the decisions you make right now. In the dark. In the quiet. In the moments where no one would blame you for staying down. That's where your future is decided. And here's the truth. You don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You don't need more motivation. You need more ownership. You need to take control of your mornings. Because when you control your morning, you control your direction. And when you control your direction, you control your life. So wake up early. Not because it's easy. Not because it's trendy. But because it's necessary. Because the version of you that you keep imagining, the stronger version, the more focused version, the more disciplined version, that version wakes up early. That version takes action. That version doesn't wait. And every single morning, you are either moving closer to that person or further away. There is no neutral. There is no, doesn't matter. It always matters. So decide. Decide who you are going to be. Decide what your mornings will look like. Decide what your life will look like. And then back it up with action. Because in the end, it's not about waking up early. It's about waking up to your own potential. And once you do that, everything changes. And the way you handle your mornings determines how much control you truly have over your life. Because control is not something you declare. It's something you demonstrate quietly, repeatedly. When no one is paying attention, it shows up in the smallest decisions, the ones that feel insignificant in the moment, but define everything over time. The moment you hear that alarm, the moment your mind starts negotiating, the moment you are given a choice between ease and effort, that's where control lives. Not in the big speeches, not in the plans you talk about, not in the goals you write down and never act on. Control is built in the moments where you could choose comfort, and instead, you choose growth. Because let's be honest, most people don't lack ambition. They lack alignment. They say they want one thing, but their actions say something completely different. They want discipline, but they protect their comfort. They want success, but they avoid the process. They want change, but they resist the very habits that create it. And nowhere is that more visible than in the morning, because the morning exposes the truth. It strips away the excuses. It reveals whether you are someone who reacts to life or someone who leads it. When you wake up and immediately surrender to distractions, you are giving away control. When you wake up and let your emotions decide your actions, you are giving away control. When you wake up and delay the very things you know you need to do, you are giving away control. And the cost of that is not just a slow morning. The cost is a life that feels like it's always slipping through your hands, because the way you start your day is not isolated, it echoes. It carries into how you think, how you act, how you respond to challenges, how you show up when things get difficult. If your morning starts with hesitation, your day follows with hesitation. If your morning starts with distraction, your day fills with distraction. If your morning starts with intention, your day begins to move with purpose. And that's where the shift begins. Not when everything is perfect, not when you feel ready, but when you decide that your mornings will no longer be left to chance. Because control requires intention. It requires you to decide ahead of time who you are going to be before the day even begins. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think control means rigidity. They think it means having everything perfectly planned, perfectly executed, perfectly consistent. But real control is not about perfection. It's about recovery. It's about how quickly you return to who you said you were going to be after you fall off. Because you will have mornings where you feel tired. You will have nights where you sleep late. You will have days where your routine breaks. That's not failure. That's reality. The difference is not in avoiding those moments. The difference is in how you respond to them. Do you let one missed morning turn into a lost week? Do you let one moment of weakness redefine your identity? Or do you reset immediately without drama, without excuses, without negotiation? Because long-term consistency is not built on being perfect. It's built on refusing to stay off track. It's built on shortening the gap between falling and getting back up. And the morning gives you that opportunity every single day. A fresh start, a reset point, a moment to realign with the person you are trying to become. And that's where self-mastery begins. Not in controlling everything around you, but in controlling how you show up regardless of what's happening around you. Self-mastery is not loud. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't need validation. In fact, the more real it is, the quieter it becomes. Because self-mastery is louder than self-promotion. The strongest message you can send to the world is not what you say, but who you become. And who you become is shaped in the mornings you choose discipline over delay. In the mornings you choose clarity over chaos. In the mornings you choose to invest in yourself before the world starts making demands from you. Because anyone can talk about goals. Anyone can announce intentions. Anyone can tell the world what they're going to do. But very few people are willing to wake up early and do the work when no one is watching. Very few people are willing to sit in the discomfort of growth without immediate reward. Very few people are willing to build a life quietly before they reveal it loudly. And that's the difference. That's the separation. Because when you build yourself in silence, your results speak in ways that words never can. You don't need to convince people. You don't need to prove anything. Your consistency does that for you. Your discipline does that for you. Your presence does that for you. And it all begins in how you handle your mornings. Because your morning is your first act of leadership for the day. It's the first signal you send to yourself about what kind of standard you are willing to accept. If you lead yourself well in the morning, you carry that leadership into everything else. Into your work, into your decisions, into your relationships. But if you fail to lead yourself in the morning, you spend the rest of the day reacting, catching up, trying to regain control that you already gave away. And that's exhausting. That's why so many people feel drained before the day even gets difficult. Because they started from a place of weakness instead of strength. From reaction instead of intention. From chaos instead of clarity. But you have a choice. Every single morning, you have a choice to reset the standard. To remind yourself that you are not here to drift through life. You are here to direct it. You are here to shape it. You are here to take ownership of it. And ownership is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It's something you earn. Over and over again in the small moments, the quiet moments, the early moments. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop depending on how you feel. Because you understand that feelings are temporary, but standards are permanent. And when your standards are strong, your actions follow. Not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. And that's when everything starts to change. You no longer see waking up early as something you have to do. You see it as something you get to do. An opportunity to get ahead. An opportunity to build momentum. An opportunity to prove, once again, that you are in control. Because control is not about having more time than everyone else. It's about using your time better than everyone else. It's about creating space in your life where you are not constantly reacting, constantly rushing, constantly overwhelmed. It's about giving yourself the advantage of clarity before the world demands your attention. And that advantage compounds, day after day. Morning after morning, small wins stacking on top of each other, confidence building, discipline strengthening, identity shifting. Until one day, you look back and realize that the person you used to be is no longer there. That the habits that once felt difficult are now automatic. That the life that once felt out of reach is now something you are actively creating, not because of one big moment, but because of thousands of small ones. Because of mornings where you chose to take control instead of give it away. And that's what most people underestimate. They underestimate the power of a single morning. They think it doesn't matter. They think they can start tomorrow. They think one more day of comfort won't make a difference. But it always makes a difference. Because every day you delay is a day you reinforce the wrong identity. Every day you hesitate is a day you strengthen the habit of hesitation. Every day you avoid is a day you move further away from the person you want to become. And that's the real cost. Not the missed alarm, not the lost hour, but the missed opportunity to build control, to build discipline, to build the version of yourself that you keep imagining but haven't fully committed to becoming. So the question is not whether waking up early is hard. It is. The question is whether staying the same is harder. Because there is a cost either way. There is a cost to discipline and there is a cost to regret. And one of those costs compounds in your favor. The other compounds against you. So when that morning comes, and it will come again as it always does, you are faced with the same decision. Do you take control? Or do you give it away? Do you act with intention? Or do you drift with emotion? Do you step into growth? Or do you stay in comfort? Because your answer to that question, repeated over time, becomes your life. And the truth is, no one else can make that decision for you. No one else can wake up for you. No one else can build your discipline. No one else can create your future. It's yours. It's always been yours. And it starts again and again in the way you choose to begin your day.